So everybody knows all guests on ZASLOW Show 2.0 are brought to us by the official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0, Johnny Cuba, European roots with a Caribbean soul, a refreshing German lager in a can. Hey, NBA draft tomorrow night. I'm going to be sitting on the couch here, Zaslow Mansion family room. I'll have a Johnny in my hand. I'll be enjoying the draft. You can pick up yourself a six-pack, your local Sedano's, Presidente, Win Dixie, Fresco y Mas. Remember to always drink responsibly. And, of course, Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. Joining us here, we always like having Zach Harper on the show. Of course, you could hear/watch Meadowlark Media, Cinephobe. You can hear him on SiriusXM NBA Radio, Mad Dog Radio. Zach, the NBA draft tomorrow night. Do you love the NBA draft? Is this a big event for you tomorrow night?
It's one of my favorite nights of the year. I love it's the corny part of it. Like, I really do enjoy seeing these kids like kind of realize their dreams, right? You have some emotional moments, you have some fun moments.
I like when they make them cry. I like that.
Yeah. Like there's always someone who like comes from the stands and like, just kind of crashes the party. There's always, someone who has a weird outfit or they have a fun moment with a family member. Like, I enjoyed that part of it. And then I enjoyed the chaos of all the moves that get made, all the moves that get rumored that night, of people blowing up the ESPN coverage because they're 3 picks ahead of what the TV is. Like, I really enjoy just the spectacle of it. I know some people don't like the draft. Some people want to get rid of the draft. Not me. This is one of my favorite nights of the year.
So do you keep up on Twitter? Because I don't go to Twitter because I don't want to have any of the picks spoiled for me. I hate that.
Oh, see, I only have the picks spoiled for me because it used to be, we don't have to get into this whole thing, but it used to be such a great production, and now ESPN has kind of let go of the rope in terms of what this is. So I kind of enjoy them trying to pretend they don't know what's coming, and what's coming on Twitter, and watching how they try to navigate that, because it's just, it's not the best product anymore.
Who do you think's going to go number 1 tomorrow?
It's Victor Wembanyama, man. This dude's a monster. I saw some clip. I woke up this morning to one, my dog barking, and I woke up this morning to a clip of Mike Ryan saying that he's not good. And
I saw that.
Yeah, we don't have to do this. We don't have to be cute about this. He's a monster. He's gonna be incredible. He is so ridiculously skilled for any young player coming into the league, let alone someone who's 7'4". Have you ever seen him stand next to Rudy Gobert? Have you ever stood next to Rudy Gobert? Rudy Gobert's a giant. He's dwarfing Rudy Gobert in terms of height. Like, he's so good. And anyone that's trying, this is a shot at Mike Ryan. This is a shot at anyone, because I've seen a lot of people saying this stuff lately of like, well, maybe he's overrated. Or maybe he's just amazing. Maybe he's just amazing. What if we went with that?
So everybody's available.
Yeah.
How many players in the league right now would the San Antonio Spurs take instead of Victor Wembanyama? Every player's available.
I mean, I think Giannis, Jokic, Luka all go before him. After that,
so you got 3 guys.
Yeah, because you factor in like long term and everything, right? It's not like, oh, he's the 4th best player. It's just like long term, and even, Giannis and Jokic are, quote unquote, getting up there. They're not old, but I guess, towards the end of their 20s, like, so you got to factor that in. But those guys are so good, you can't pass on it. But like, Wembanyama is going to be incredible. Like, have you heard him like talk? He had this incredible interview with JJ Redick this week. Like, he just has a great perspective. He's smart. He's a great player.
He's clearly ready for the league.
Yeah, and not just ready for the league, like ready to be a star, and not in this like obnoxious, egotistical way. There's an assuredness about him that is just incredible. Like, he's the real deal.
So there are 3 players you would take ahead of him right now. If you go back to 2003, you would have said a lot more than 3 players over LeBron, right?
In 2003, you probably take Duncan, Kobe. Would you still take Shaq at that point? Probably not.
Shaq was coming up. He was coming off 4 straight finals appearances, having won 3 of them.
Yeah. But he also, like, he was kind of getting up there. He had the toe issue at that point. You probably take maybe you take KG. That's he'd been
All right,
he'd
so
been
maybe
there a
it's
while.
similar. It might be similar
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, I'm trying to like I don't think like that's the thing is like it's not like you just have to factor in, all right, you assume like I'm gonna have this guy for the next 10, 15 years and he's already gonna be this. Like it's very similar. And I don't like, here's the thing I don't like. I don't like that someone puts out an assessment of a player and then we kill the player for it. It's something that really bothers me the more we get into this business of like someone will say he's the best prospect since LeBron James. And now we're like, okay, so he's LeBron James. Well, maybe this jackass over here that said it, let's like say like your assessments suck. Let's just say this guy's awesome.
Yeah. If I told you right now that Wembanyama is going to have Durant's career, do the Spurs take it?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Kevin Durant's best. Kevin Durant like probably should be in the conversation for top 10 player ever. Definitely like top 15. Like you look at like just how great he is, and like this 7 foot tall, the skill set, the scoring, and everything. Like he's a surefire Hall of Famer with multiple championships. The same thing. If Wembanyama gets them one championship, it's worth it.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the free agency stuff. The Heat are obviously we're all nutty and keeping an eye on everything that's going on down here. Not necessarily regarding the Heat, but what is the nuttiest thing? I tell my listeners, you got to be careful what you're reading and what you believe out there. All right, it's not necessarily the reporter's fault, but there's people who are feeding information and there's an agenda. What is the nuttiest thing that you have heard over the last few days?
I don't know how real this is, but I heard that I heard maybe within the last week that the Blazers could move the 3 pick for Pascal Siakam, but Pascal Siakam will not commit to Portland, and therefore like they won't make a deal with someone who won't commit to Portland. And I'm like, yeah, like one, it's funny to me that Pascal, after all this time in Toronto, would be like, I don't know if I can do Portland. Like, I don't know about this, right? I don't know if I want to play with Damian Lillard. I've been toughing it with OG Anunoby and Gary Trent Jr. He clearly like needs a star in front of him, like he had with Kawhi, right? And then 2, just this everything going on with Portland and this 3 pick. We have a game of chicken happening right now. Like it would just between Portland and Damian Lillard. Portland seems like they're going, dang, we'd really like you to request a trade. And Dame seems like he's like, look, I don't want to make this decision. You guys either trade me or don't. And like no one wants to make the decision like this should break up. It is a weird marriage that is afraid to break up because of how the optics are going to look. And so then every trade possibility that comes out there, including the report that Portland's ready to make a significant offer for Bam. Cool. Like that. Yeah, I bet they are.
No chance.
Fantastic. Like, yeah, I'd like to announce I am prepared to take Rihanna on a date. All right. I'm prepared.
You're announcing
I'm throwing it out there. Yeah. I'm throwing it out there. Like I'm ready for it.
The Blazers are the way that they're going to help build their team around Dame. They're going to go to one of the teams that were in the finals and see if they want to rebuild.
And not just that, Pat Riley. Hey, Pat, you know how you hate the draft? Well, what if you had the 3rd pick?
You were a few games away from winning the championship.
Yeah.
We want to know if you'd rather rebuild.
Yeah.
We can help you with that.
Yeah. We want to know if you want to take away your second best player. And then we'll give you the 3 pick. And maybe someday that guy could be your second best player.
Well, so what is that? Like, are the Blazers, I mean, if it seems like smoking mirrors, are the Blazers just trying to tell Dame, listen, we're trying everything. It's
the whole thing of just like the optics you hope look good. Also, like this Blazers front office sucks. They're bad. They've had like, not trying to be mean about Joe Cronin, but like, He's been in the job for a year and a half, about 2 years. I can't think of a move he made that was good. Like that, like I guess Jeremy Grant, but that didn't work. It's not like that did anything. Like any idea they have is bad, and this is just like it's the Kyrie. Hey, LeBron, Want to come to Dallas? I mean, what? Like, yeah, that's not going to work. It just like optics. You think that's going to make me look good? It's just so dumb.
What is going on in Phoenix? Is Isaiah Thomas, is he running the show? Is it going to lead to James Jones saying, listen, what am I doing here? What's going on in Phoenix?
Yeah, I mean, that's the funny part, right? Is like people knew Matt Ishbia's relationship with Isaiah Thomas. All of a sudden, he buys the team, and Isaiah Thomas is sitting courtside. You're like, whoa, is he involved? No, he's not involved. And then Chris Paul goes on, what, Good Morning America or whatever he went on. He's like, oh, yeah. Isaiah Thomas is like, get him out of here. Like, this is just what it is. And yeah, like Isaiah Thomas is, I don't think it's an official capacity, but he seems heavily involved in decision making and influence. And maybe he's just like a consultant, but it's just pro sports have a funny way of doing things where, hey, that Robert Sarver, I mean, he's horrible to women and we can't like have him around this team anymore. We got to force him to sell. Cool. Force him to sell. Who are we bringing in? Matt Ishbia. Oh, that sounds great. Okay. What's he got going on? Well, he'd love Isaiah Thomas, who had a sexual harassment suit against him to come help run this team. Okay. Yeah. We'll make it work.
Yeah. What do you make of what do you make of what's going on with Chris Paul? Because I think he's being completely disingenuous. It's obviously a semantic play where he's doing the Chris Paul woe is me tour right now, telling everybody he found out on the airplane from his son. Number one, that's bullshit. All right, because I knew I knew a couple weeks before that that they were going to either trade him or cut him. All right.
Yeah.
So I feel like the news got to Chris Paul before that airplane. And number two, why doesn't Chris Paul, when he's doing the woe is me tour, also mention because of this trade, he was guaranteed an extra $10 million? Why does he leave that out?
Well, what I like about that is he's on this book tour, right? I like Chris Paul. I'm one of the few basketball people that still like enjoys Chris Paul. I think it's ridiculous the way we talk about his career. He's one of the, like, think about how hard he has had to work, how good he is at his job, everything that has led up over the last 30 plus years to him to get to this point where he is a surefire Hall of Famer. He's one of the best point guards we've ever seen. And everyone just looks at him like, that guy's not good. Mm-hmm. That guy's not good enough. Right. So I can sympathize with that, but I have no interest in reading a book about like from Chris Paul. Like, I just have no interest. Like, I've seen a lot of it. I don't think we're getting, this is like whenever an athlete comes out with their own documentary, like, I'm good. Like, that doesn't do anything for me. I want to see someone else's documentary about them. And so I guess his way of doing this, it's not as extreme as Scottie Pippen just crapping all over Michael Jordan and in trying to sell some whiskey that he's now hawking. It's not quite that, but I feel like Chris Paul is using this as a way to move book sales, and I just don't know anybody who reads anymore.
I didn't love the Bradley Beal trade for Phoenix. Now, I'll tell you, like, I was, I thought it'd been really cool if the Heat acquired him, but Phoenix is already going to be a great offensive team. I guess they're going to be greater now, I feel like if you have Durant and Booker, you don't need another big-time scorer. I feel like that should do the trick right there. So what did you make of them acquiring Beal?
Well, I don't like this thing we're doing where, as like a basketball society, not you and me, but where it's like, oh, super teams, they're kind of out now. No, they're not. The second someone can get 3 stars, they're going to get 3 stars because it is a league in which often enough throughout its history, if you have the most talented players and that talent gap is wide, you are going to win. Like, that's just usually how it goes, right? Now, KD injury history, pretty rough the last few years. Bradley Beal injury history, pretty rough the last few years. Devin Booker is relatively healthy. I think the idea is when you have 3 of those guys, you'll always have at least one of those guys on the court. Ideally, you'll have at least 2 of those guys on the court in some combination at any time. And when you have 3 of them on the court, nobody can guard you. And defense is important and all this stuff, right? Depth is important. I think it's a good trade unless they can't bring the role players in it discounts to come flesh out this roster, right? And that's going to be the tricky part because the new collective bargaining agreement, I don't think people realize, like, we're going to see some insane trades over the next 3 or 4 years because teams are loading up now, and then they're not going to be able to afford this in terms of just roster construction, moves they can make.
It's funny because Pat Riley yesterday in his State of the Union that he does every year mentioned how, because of what he called these draconian, salary cap rules, that back when, if they had the big three now, they wouldn't have been able to add Shane Battier and Ray Allen. They wouldn't have been able to add any of these guys. Like, I can't even keep up with all the different rules now. It's
so stupid. Like the owners do this thing where someone has success, and instead of truly figuring out, well, how do we have success? They figure out, well, how can we stop that?
Yeah.
What rules can we make to stop that? We need to change this or change that. And now they've painted themselves in this corner of like, well, they didn't like the Warriors dominating how much money the Warriors spent. So let's stop that. Okay. But you dummies, the money keeps going up for these star players. So now, like, you maybe can have two of these guys together, but not really. I am against parity in the NBA. I think it's a stupid idea. I think it's bad for basketball in terms of the product because I think this league thrives on dominant teams and teams trying to topple them. And so you get into a Phoenix situation, they really have to add these players this summer because moving forward, they're not going to have any kind of flexibility. I think they'll trade Ayton for depth, which is a good move. And then we'll see where it goes. Can they get an 8-man rotation, 7-man rotation by the time the playoffs come around? But one that's like legit, not one that has the next Landry Shamet or campaign or whoever, right? If they can do that, it's going to work out. Stay healthy, get 7 guys in that rotation with the 3, including the 3 you already have. It will work. It should at least help them compete for a title, but they've painted themselves in this corner where that's not an easy process. But I am always for go get the talent because you don't know what's going to happen.
All right. So speaking of which, let's talk about the Heat here. It's no secret. We know they want Damian Lillard. I think it's a super dangerous game, Zach, that the Heat are trying. And I understand the Heat fans' frustration because the Heat have had opportunities to hit home runs, but they're waiting to hit the grand slam. They could have hit a home run with Mitchell, but they wanted to wait to hit a grand slam with Kevin Durant. They could have hit a home run with Bradley Beal, but no, they want to hit a grand slam with Damian Lillard. They haven't been able to hit that grand slam when home runs have been available. I think it's a really dangerous game waiting for Lillard to, like you said, it seems like they're playing a game of chicken. And let's say finally they come to the conclusion between now and tomorrow night or whatever that Lillard, they're going to move him. Do the Blazers choose the Heat's offer over the seemingly possibly 28 other offers that they're going to get for Damian Lillard?
I mean, I would, if you're Portland, you're focusing on the rebuild, right? Like that's maybe the strength of their front office is draft evaluation. And so, all right, Miami's picks could be good. Like for you, like it kind of feels like once Jimmy hits that 50 million a year thing, right, in a couple of years, like that's when the franchise in theory is going to start to really, have a chance to crumble down, right? And where things could get awkward in terms of building the roster. And so I think like that's a good risk. Or you trade them to Brooklyn. They have so many picks they can move because of the Durant trade, because of the Harden trade, because of Kyrie trade. They have so many picks they can move. They can throw, 6 picks at you, where most teams can only throw 4 plus pick swaps. Like I would take the picks because there's no real reason. Like if it's 3 picks from the Heat and Tyler Hero, all right, I'm more interested in the picks. Like Tyler Hero's a nice player, but I'm more interested in the picks if I'm Portland, right? I don't want to pay Tyler Hero $120 million. If it's cap space with like Kyle Lowry's contract and you got to take on Duncan Robinson or whatever, and you get the picks, okay. Once again, still interested in the picks. If I can get Brooklyn to give me Phoenix's picks years from now and Dallas's picks a few years from now, that's more enticing to me because I believe that has a shorter window than whatever Miami can keep cobbling together in terms of competitiveness. And so I don't know. Unless Dame really wants to go to Miami. Which,
how much should Portland care about what Dame wants in that spot?
They shouldn't, but we just saw Bradley Beal traded for no reason.
Yeah, but again, because they're trying to start over.
Yeah, they're trying to start over. I mean, Portland would be too, but Washington will have you believe, well, he had a no trade clause, nothing we could do. You could have kept him for a year and then see what happens next year. There's no, like, Bradley Beal's not a rock the boat kind of guy. And with Dame, like, they do sound like if they make that trade, they want to, quote unquote, do right by Dame. And like, all right, you want to go to Miami? We'll send you to Miami. Like, that's the only thing that really, in my opinion, is working in Miami's favor outside of the picks.
I hope so, but I hope that's the case. But I'm always against that. Like, I feel like when these players, because we know the way it goes now, Zach, right? Yeah. The players, they want the max contract. They're going to sign the max, and then they'll deal with the repercussions in a year or two and try and finagle their way out if they can. And for me, it's like you signing, like, we as the franchise, we're going to guarantee you that money. That's our gift to you. But then down the road, we're going to do what's best for us. That's the transaction here. We are guaranteeing you all of this money. And then in the future, we don't really owe you anything. We owe the franchise.
No, but it is, you're right. But it also is, there's relationships with agents. There's relationships with down the road. All right, if we want this guy to come here and this guy to come here, that, like, CAA runs the Knicks most of the time, right? Like, Clutch runs the Lakers. Like, you do need those relationships with organizations. I'm not saying Dame is like that or his representation is like that necessarily, but those relationships matter. And maybe it's an apology. Like, yeah, we gave you all this money, but also we've wasted a good chunk of your career. I saw it happen with Kevin Garnett in Minnesota, right? It was like, oh, sorry for wasting the last 12 years of your life. Go to Boston and win a title. Like, sometimes you don't have to, but you maybe think it's good karma or something to do that.
Does do the players getting drafted tomorrow night and wearing the wrong hats, does it bother you the way it bothers me? Because it makes me crazy.
Yeah, what bothers me more than that is on, like, draft pages on, like, Basketball Reference. It's like, oh yeah, this guy drafted, or this team drafted this guy. It's like, well, not really. Like, most of the time when these guys get traded, they're drafted for the other team. If I'm acquiring the number 2 pick, but I can't complete the deal until, like, Saturday because of whatever dumb rules there are, it's like, oh, you picked this player and then you traded him. No, I told you to pick this player and then you traded him. Like, yeah, that bothers me. But yeah, the hats. Sometimes,
like, I hate seeing Luka Doncic was drafted by Atlanta. That's bullshit.
That's the only one I like. That's the only one that's funny. It's just funny to me when like, it's a superstar, right? Like, I like seeing Dirk Nowitzki in a Bucks hat. Right. But like, but all the, like, non Hall of Fame guys, then it's like, this
Kobe
is annoying.
was drafted by the Hornets. Bullshit.
I don't need to see Jimmer Fredette in a Bobcats hat. Like, I'm not interested in that.
What do we got coming up on Cinephobe? What's going on? Meadowlark Media, Cinephobe, where you guys rate all the movies that are under 50% Rotten Tomatoes. You guys
it's 40% or lower, and then we ascertain was it a good movie or was it a bad movie. So we just did Hard Rain. That was out last week, coming out tomorrow on Thursday. We have Street Kings. It's about a dirty cop in L.A. It's Keanu Reeves. It's Forrest Whitaker. It's Jay Moore. Chris Evans is in it. It's a stacked cast on a movie I honestly had not seen before. It had slipped through the cracks. It is wildly entertaining. I don't know if I won't spoil whether or not it's good, but in terms of a watch, it's an insane movie.
Oh man. Based on the last time that you were on a few months ago, one of the movies you did, and you definitely didn't recommend it, but because you guys did it, I went and watched it. What was it called? It was sci-fi with what's his name from Jurassic Park.
Event Horizon.
Yeah, Event Horizon.
Yeah, that's a nuts movie, man.
Terrible. That's a
crazy movie. Yeah, this one is not quite the same level of crazy, but I'll say, like, we're, what we've recorded is a little ahead of obviously what we're releasing because it takes so much editing for Anthony Mays. We got a good run coming up with this, with what's happening with the Cinephobe universe. Starting with Street Kings, we got a good run coming.
Now, have you seen anything that's in the theaters recently? I know that's not necessarily for Cinephobe. And if I remember correctly, you're not so into the superhero movies.
Comic book movies don't do it for me. Everyone's telling me I got to see The Flash anyway, and so I'll see it. I don't know if I'm going to go to the theater to see it, but I'm going to see it. But everyone's saying, like, oh no, it's not just a comic book movie. Like, it's a real good movie, and people like I trust. So I'll probably see The Flash. I would
say I like The Flash a lot, but I would say the opposite of that.
Oh really?
It's a real fun comic book movie. It's not that good a movie. It's a fun comic book movie.
Yeah,
and I really enjoyed it. I'd say the opposite of what you were just told.
So two movies I watched recently at home was the Ant-Man movie, the Quantumania movie. I finally awful. What an atrocious movie. What a knockoff wannabe Star Wars universe move they made. And I don't even like Star Wars, but I'm just like the whole time I'm like, this is just trying to be Star Wars. Like, this is stupid. I hated it.
My younger son and I recite randomly MODOK's death scene lines to each other. We touch each other's face and we recite the lines.
I don't understand what that was. I still I watched the whole movie. I still don't understand what the hell that thing is. I guess it's the guy from the first movie, but I don't understand why he's a cubed head.
A mechanized organism designed only for killing.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it still doesn't explain anything to me, but yeah, I was very confused by that. But I watched the movie Tetris last night.
Oh, that looks cool.
I had that recommended to me. I was like, I don't really care about this. It's actually a fascinating story. Like, I know they dramatized it for making a movie, but I way more went into the movie or into the game Tetris than I had any idea. Like, it's a good watch.
Are we interested in seeing Oppenheimer?
Yeah, I don't like Chris Nolan.
Really?
I think he's a hack, man. He's made some good movie. Like, I think Inception's his best movie. Like, Inception's a legitimately good movie. Everything else I just think is like, you not have an editor. You can't cut 30 minutes out of this. You got to draw this out. Everything's art to you and all this
stuff. I got
no
problem telling you. I sat through Tenet. I have no idea what that movie's about.
Spoiler alert, the first half of the movie is in forward and the next half of the movie is what was happening in rewind. Like, that's just what it is. And it's like, to me, I'm like, okay, this is just you pleasuring yourself for making a movie. Like, that's all that is, right? He's just trying to be cute. And I'm just like, I think Christopher Nolan, if he had a real editor, could turn out some amazing movies. I like The Dark Knight. I think the first half of that movie is awesome. I think the second half of that movie sucks. And to me,
really?
it is two movies poorly edited into one. Like, that's just like, I just look at his movies and I'm just like, you need someone to cut the fat on this. And so, like, I'll see Oppenheimer. It's an interesting story. The cast looks amazing. It looks cool. All of his movies look cool, but I'm fully prepared to think like this movie could have been an email. Like,
okay.
I'm just ready for that.
Okay. Yeah. Did I leave anything out? What else can we tell people about what you got going on?
That's it. Oh, you know what? Check that. I got a show with Michelle Beadle on this app called AMP. 3 times a week. You download the app. We're live for you at 4 Eastern, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We try to talk basketball. It's been a lot of talking about Zion Williamson sex life, and just whatever random thoughts come into Michelle Beadle's head. And so it's me and Beadle 3 times a week on AMP. It's a fun show.
Excellent job, Zach. Thanks for coming on again.
Yes, thank you so much. Appreciate it.